We are live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I believe this is episode 5 of the podcast. And today we got a good one. So get yourself a refreshment. None of that soda stuff, but preferably some water. Get your posture up. And let's get into this thing. So, today I wanted to touch on what I call programming your mind. This is important for just self-development, and if you want to be a certain type of person, a successful person in whatever field you are in, or you just want to self-improve, you want to improve your mindset. This is important because you have to program your mind in order to do these things. So let's just first touch on how the brain is naturally wired. And that is, your brain all day, every day, from the moment you wake up, your brain is taking in information and it does what it can with that information, and it deciphers it all day long in your subconscious mind. And so even if you're not necessarily paying conscious attention to these things, your brain is taking in information from everything, all the information that you're absorbing. And it's taking that information and it's making what it can out of that information. So that's just how the brain naturally works. So let's first understand that all day, every day, your brain's taking in information, and that information's programming you into a certain person. And it's on you to be aware of that, right? The mind is programmed subconsciously, and whether you're aware of it or not, you're taking in that information all day. You could be, scrolling on social media. You can just be driving down the street. You can be listening to a certain type of music. School, your mentors and your friends and family, all those people that you're around, your brain's taking in the information from them and which they're giving you, and it's absorbing all of that and doing what it can with it, trying to make use of that information. And that's what it does. That's just how the brain works naturally. So it's important to be aware of what influences you and what programs your brain. And like we said, social media, music, school, mentors, friends, family, these are all things that obviously have a big impact on how you're going to think as a person and how your mind's going to be programmed. And if your mind's programmed in a way that you don't want it to be, that's not supporting your goals or your ambitions, then, well, you got to change that. You have to change the type of social media you look at, the type of music you listen to. You have to change what type of mentor you have. You have to change your friends and family. Well, you can't necessarily change your family, but what you can do when it comes to family is, well, you can cut them off if they're programming you in a negative way and they're not helping you in a way that will allow you to be successful in whatever it is that you want to be successful in. So yeah, be aware of what influences you and what you allow to program your mind, because whether you like it or not, your brain is programming your mind based off of what you're absorbing every single day. That's very important. Don't be programmed by unhappy and unlucky people. This one, very, very important. Because, a lot of people, obviously, they have family is a good one to start off with. They have family members that are negative Nancy's, right? And they don't really, their family members aren't necessarily trying to elevate themselves or elevate the people around them. And so they're selfish people, maybe. They're negative people, maybe. And if you're allowing your family to program your mind to be just like them, well, you're going to be the same negative Nancy, and you're also going to be a selfish person, right? And that doesn't do much for you. So make sure, this kind of goes back to relationships. Make sure that you're cultivating those good relationships with friends and family, and cultivating relationships with people who program your mind in a way that's beneficial to you and that's going to help you elevate yourself. Because if you're around the unhappy, the unlucky, the negative Nancy's, the people who can't get a break, well, what that's doing is programming you to be just like that. And maybe that's the type of person you are, right? If you're not in the place that you want to be at, well, you have to analyze, like, do I hang around people who are just like that? Or do I hang around successful people who want to elevate their lives and who want to develop good habits and improve themselves? So be aware of what influences you and go towards the influences that will help you become the best version of yourself. Because your mind's going to be programmed either way, you know. It's always taking in information and programming itself. So the thing that you have to do is program it in a way that helps you and that helps you elevate. That's key. Very important. So yeah, we all know the person who can't ever catch a break, who everything bad's always happening to them, the world's against them. We all know that person, right? And it might be multiple people, but it's important that you cut them ties with those type of people, because that's how you program your mind into becoming one of those people. You're hanging around them all day, that's who you will become. Same thing with bad music. You know, a lot of music. There's a lot of music out there where it has an influence on the youth, and this type of music, you know, the trap music, the rapping about guns and drugs and killing people and fucking hoes, that type of music, well, that's programming you in a negative way, and it's making you fearful and making the youth fearful. You know, a lot of young people listen to this type of music, and so you have to also be aware of the music you listen to. That, you know, that music comes with frequencies, and when you add the lyrics into that, that's an easy way to program a populace, right? So music is a very important one to just be aware of the music you listen to. If you're listening to music, and just maybe analyze for a second when you're listening to a song one day. Try to listen to the lyrics and actually listen to the lyrics and see what they're saying and the message that they're trying to implant into your brain. Because not all music, of course, but there's a lot of music where, you know, they're promoting things that you don't necessarily want to absorb into your mind, because that leads you into trouble, that leads you into negativity, that leads you into fearfulness, that leads you into having terrible relationships, that leads you into being selfish. And are those things good for you? Well, I wouldn't say so. So be aware of the music you listen to. Social media, another one. Social media has obviously a big influence on society today. Well, you have to be very aware of social media nowadays, because there's so many different platforms and so many short form contents, and especially with short form content like TikTok or YouTube Shorts. If you're sitting there swiping, like, a lot of times it's not going to be the same type of information that you're receiving in each of these posts on TikTok or Shorts, whatever it may be. It can be many just different things, right? Different types of subjects that you're looking at when you're swiping on TikTok. And that's just random information that you're just absorbing into your mind, whether you're consciously aware of that or not. And a lot of people aren't. A lot of people are just sitting there whenever they have time and just swiping away and absorbing all that information. And a lot of times, none of that is good for you. None of that is, motivational for you. None of that's going to help elevate you. And more often than not, I would say it's useless information. And if not useless, it could also be negative information, um, and information that makes you, again, like the rap, fearful, selfish, just useless things, right? So when you're on social media, always try to catch yourself swiping, because that's terrible for you. It cuts off your attention span, programs you to be, a robot that just can't. No, not a robot, I guess. No, yeah, a robot. It programs you to not be able to focus for long periods of time. That's for sure. You're sitting there watching 5-second clips. Then you try to sit down and listen to a long form podcast, and you can't, or you can't read a book, right? You can't sit there for 20 minutes and read a book because you've been swiping on TikTok for the past 5 years and just programming your mind to be short circuited and not be able to pay attention. So you have to be aware of these things: music, social media, school. Especially if you're a parent, be aware of what your kids are being taught in school, because it might not be agendas that you want your kids to learn, right? And programming it might be programming that you don't want your kids to absorb. I don't know much about the school system, but I've heard things about, like, about how they push the trans ideologies and the gay ideologies and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with being trans or gay, but then when you push them types of things into children that are vulnerable, that obviously programs them at a very young age to, look into that stuff so much that it could affect them negatively down the line as they grow up. So if you're a parent, that's a good one to be aware of. Be aware of school and how it's programming your kid, right? As a parent, you want your ideologies to be implanted into your kid. You want to program your kid with your own ideologies and ways of living and mindsets, because that's your kid, right? So be aware of that. Don't let school and society program your child into something you don't want them to be. Another one is very important, especially if you want to be, a successful anything. If you want to be a certain type of person, like if you want to be an elite athlete, if you want to be a good businessman, if you want to be a good scientist, a good doctor, a good lawyer, a good baker, anything, you need to have a good mentor that has accomplished what you want to accomplish, right? And so having a good mentor that you will allow to program your mind into a positive way, into a way that you want it to be programmed into, that's key. Don't Obviously, I think this is obvious, yeah, that you don't want to, if you want to learn how to be a scientist, you don't go to a baker, right, and learn how to do science from the baker. You go to a scientist who's done it and who knows what they're doing and who has accomplished things in that field. And you take what you can from them, you learn and absorb the information from them, and with that information, you program your mind into becoming a successful scientist yourself. And that can go for any field, right? When it comes to mentors, you just make sure you're picking a good mentor, a mentor that who you can aspire to be like, right? You want to have, because at the end of the day, if you're learning from that person, they're programming you. And do you want to be programmed into a positive direction, or do you want to not know anything? So it's good to be aware of the mentor or mentors that you choose. They have a big effect on how you program your mind. Friends is another obvious one, right? You don't want to hang with dummies. You don't want to hang with unsuccessful, lazy, selfish people. Because if you're hanging with those type of people, talking with those type of people all day, sharing energy with those type of people, that's how you're programming your mind to be. You're going to become one of those type of people. And if you become that type of person, fearful, selfish, self-centered, you know, that's who you're going to become. And that doesn't take you very far if you want to be successful in your field or have a stronger mindset or improve yourself. So friends is an easy one, because you can cut off friends, and there's so many people in the world that you can find and network with that are successful and that who you can aspire to be like and who have the same type of goals as you. So it's important that you choose the right friends and cut off the ones that don't serve you well and that are programming you negatively. Make sure you're programming your mind in a positive way. So be aware of what influences your mind. Also, don't be programmed by the unhappy and unlucky, right? We all know that one person who can't catch a break. We all know that one person who everything bad always happens to them and the world's against them. We all know that person or people. So it's just important that stay away from those type of people. That should be another obvious one, right? Because if they're gonna program your mind to be unhappy and unlucky, and when you become that person who can't catch a break and everybody's against you and everything bad always happens to you, it's sticky, and all you're doing is attracting that even more and more and more. And so more bad things will keep occurring to you because, well, you think all this bad stuff's supposed to happen to you. And that's how you program your mind. So avoid those types of people at all costs, right? That's important. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. You might not realize you're around those type of people necessarily. Like, you might not be paying attention to it. So it's important to just analyze and try to consciously be aware. Is this that type of person? Is that an unhappy, unlucky, I can't catch a break type of person? If so, you got to get away from those types of people if you want to elevate, right? So yeah. A healthier way to improve your mindset, to self-improve, become successful, is just programming your mind to want to support others, want to provide for others, and help your community out, right? Because by thinking that way, by extension, if you want to help and support others, by extension, you have to be capable as a person. You have to elevate your own self. And so programming your mind to support and provide for others forces you to elevate yourself, which is obviously beneficial for you and others. So it's beneficial for both sides. And that's a healthier way of kind of looking at things. It's a healthier outlook to have. Program your mind to want to support people, want to support your family, want to support your community, your country, your friends, all that. Try to be, the person that they can look up to and ask for support for. Because by being that type of person, you by extension have to be capable and you have to be able to support and provide. And so you have to self-improve, and that helps you at the end of the day. Very important. I think that's a very healthy way to look at it. And yeah, I kind of touched up on all those points briefly. I didn't want to get too far into each topic because I don't want to sound like I'm ranting, and I don't know if you guys like my voice. I think I got a decent voice though, but if someone's talking for so long, it just becomes a lecture, and I don't know. Leave me some feedback and tell me, would you like it longer? Would you like it shorter content? How can I improve? What can I add? What can I take away? Any type of feedback is greatly appreciated. And I'm going to leave you with this. An action step again. I think that was a pretty good thing to add in the last episode. So let's do that again, eh? So this is another one. It's very simple. Just take some time. That time can be 5, 10 minutes. Just take a couple minutes out of your day if you got it. I'm sure you do. Just take some time and just sit there and put the phone away. Put any distractions away and just think, what have I consumed today? What have I absorbed today? And how has that programmed my mind? And just think, how has it programmed my mind positively or negatively? Is it going to help me get to where I want to be? You have to also think about your goals when it comes to this. Oh, excuse me. Is it going to help me get to my goals, or is it going to take me away from my goals? So yeah, just take some time, analyze the information that you've absorbed via social media or friends, family, and analyze, who have I been around, what social medias have I indulged in, what type of music have I listened to. Analyze, if you have a mentor, is this person gonna truly help me succeed? Is this person in a place that I want to be? And yeah, just analyze that. Maybe write it down. Yeah, writing it down would be good. So analyze that. Take some time. Analyze what's programming your mind. Write it down. And when you write it down, just take a look and be objective about it. Don't be emotional. Look at it and say, is this helping me or is this not helping me? And if it's not helping you, well, then there you go. That's another action that you can take. You can change that and change it and be consistent with those changes. Change it and don't revert back to, negative programming, right? Make the change and stick with the positive programming. So yeah, please do that. Take time to analyze what programs your mind. And yeah, if it's negative, change it. If it's positive, good. Keep it up and stay consistent. So yeah, I'm gonna leave you with that. And if you joined today, I'm extremely grateful. Thank you very much. I'm gonna keep trying to make these better. And yeah, leave a like, comment, subscribe if you like. That would help the channel a lot and be very valuable to me. So thank you very much if you tuned in today. Have a great day. Peace.